You know when someone is so drunk they start seeing and hearing things? Well, your brain can play tricks on you even when you're completely sober. In fact, sometimes your brain lies to you even when you're wide awake. Sometimes these lies can be really convincing. Sometimes they feel like hallucinations. And scientists don't really know why it happens. They call it phantom senses. So, if you think you're always rational and logical, think again, because this is your brain lying to you. Instead, we'll be focusing on the brains of some unlucky people who are being lied to by their own bodies. So buckle up. Here are some scary times where your brain lied to you. Christopher suffered from migraines for most of his life. At first they were fairly bearable, but over time the pain became unbearable. He tried pills, he tried injections, he tried acupuncture. Nothing helped him. He was desperate. Then one day he heard about a new treatment, a neurostimulator that sends small electrical signals to nerves in the brain. The treatment seemed too good to be true. It was expensive and his insurance wouldn't cover it, but he had no other options left, so he paid out of pocket. The implant itself was painful, but soon after he recovered. Christopher noticed that his migraines were almost completely gone, but something strange was happening. Whenever he stood up, he felt like he had lost all his balance. He would have to grab onto things just to keep himself upright. It was almost like he was drunk. He decided to ignore it and went about his life. One day while he was grabbing a beer from the fridge, he accidentally dropped it. He wasn't drunk. His hand just slipped. It was then he realized what was happening. His brain was lying to him. He was losing his sense of balance. He went back to the doctor and told him what was happening. The doctor examined him and explained what was going on. Christopher's implant was sending signals to his brain that interfered with his sense of balance. Luckily, it was just a minor change in the settings that fixed everything. Christopher got his sense of balance back. But he wasn't the only one. This happens to anyone who has an implant in certain parts of their brain. Their brain gets signals from the implant that interfere with their sense of balance. It's like your brain is getting spam messages and it becomes confused and starts stumbling around. Christopher was lucky it didn't end in disaster, but it's a good reminder that your brain can lie to you in ways you never imagined. For the next example, let's look at a woman named Anna. Anna loved her morning coffee. She would always wake up before sunrise and make herself a cup of joe. It was the perfect way to start the day. But one morning she woke up and something was different. Her coffee tasted awful. She thought maybe it was just a bad batch or something. But as the weeks went on, it became more and more clear. Anna's taste buds had changed. She couldn't enjoy her favorite foods anymore. Chocolate now tasted like cardboard. Steak tasted like old socks. Nothing had any flavor. She visited her doctor, who performed a battery of tests. Everything was fine. There was nothing physically wrong with her. Her tongue hadn't been poisoned. She hadn't eaten anything radioactive. Her sense of taste just disappeared. This is known as ageusia. Some people suffer from it temporarily after a bad case of the flu. For others, it lasts for years. Scientists don't exactly know what causes it, but it shows how your brain can deceive you. Even if your physical senses work, your brain can make them feel like they're not. It's like playing a game of telephone, but with your taste buds. Our next story involves a man named Derek. Derek loved to party. He would go out every weekend with his friends and dance the night away. But one night he did something he never did. He drank too much. He remembers dancing with some girls, and then suddenly he's face down on the bathroom floor. He doesn't remember anything else. The next thing he knows, he wakes up in a hospital bed. His friends tell him he had a seizure. He felt embarrassed. It was the first time anything like this had ever happened to him. But then it happened again. Every time he partied, he would drink too much and pass out. He saw a specialist who put him on medication. It worked for a while, but then the seizures came back. It was then he learned the truth. His brain was messing with him. It turns out that when you drink alcohol, it affects your brain in ways you might not expect. Alcohol is a depressant, which means it slows down activity in the brain. But it also messes with the way your brain communicates with the rest of your body. This can cause seizures, especially if you're predisposed to them. Basically, alcohol puts your brain in a state of chaos, and it can take a while for things to settle down. So if you think you're having fun when you drink, think again. Your brain isn't too happy about it. Next, let's meet Emma. Emma was an avid runner. She would pound the pavement for hours every day. She loved the feeling of wind in her hair and the sun on her skin. But one day she was running, and something strange happened. She felt like she had been stabbed in the chest. She couldn't believe it. She wasn't wearing a bulletproof vest, so there was no way she could have been shot. When she turned around, she saw a look of horror on her boyfriend's face. He was pointing to a spot on her chest. It looked like a huge red dot. She touched it and gasped. It felt like fire. She ran home and jumped in the shower. Cold water helped a little, but the pain wouldn't go away. She was stumped. What could be causing this? Was it an allergy? A rash? An insect bite? Then she remembered. Earlier that day, she had been running near a military base. Maybe there had been an accident. Maybe shrapnel from a bomb. But that was impossible. She called her boyfriend and asked him if he had seen anything. He hadn't. The only thing he remembered was the look on her face when she felt the pain. Then he said something that made her gasp. According to him, the pain had come from inside her. It was coming from her chest. That meant only one thing. The pain wasn't coming from anything outside her body. It was coming from her brain. Somehow her brain was tricking her into thinking she had been stabbed. If you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button. It really helps us grow and keeps our lights on. Now let's move on to the next story. Michael loved to swim. He would spend hours in the pool every day. It was the perfect way to stay in shape. But one day he was swimming, and he felt a sharp pain in his ear. He couldn't believe it. He had never had a problem before. He dried off and went home. The pain still hadn't gone away. It was then he realized what was happening. His ear had been ringing. He couldn't hear anything. Was this a sign of something worse? Michael was worried. He went to see his doctor, who checked his ears and gave him a clean bill of health. The doctor told him he had a rare condition called somatic auditory hallucination. This means that his brain was making sounds that weren't really there. It's like when you're in a crowded room and you can hear a conversation going on, but you can't understand what they're saying. Your brain is picking up sounds, but it's not processing them correctly. In Michael's case, his brain was making up sounds that he wasn't hearing. This can happen for a number of reasons. Sometimes it's caused by a tumor. Other times it's caused by multiple sclerosis. But in many cases, doctors don't know what's causing it. Michael was lucky because his hearing returned after a few days. But it's a good reminder that your brain can lie to you. Sometimes the things you think you're seeing and hearing aren't really there. Now it's time to make your voice heard. What do you think? Has your brain ever lied to you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.